Hello friends, and welcome to this. Today I'm going to be talking about Deadlock, a game that I have been playing a significant amount of, and basically giving a bit of a review of it, giving it my idea of the meta, my thoughts on different heroes, and what people are doing right and what people are doing wrong. I have some hot takes to drop, and I have the skill and knowledge to back those takes up. So, first of all, who am I to make such hot takes? Well, I have a background of gaming for my whole life. Obviously, most of us do. Let's be honest, we're all nerds here. However, back in the day, I played some competitive Counter-Strike. I was never a high, the top ranking or anything like that, but I did go to a few events, and I do have that background. In Counter-Strike, I'm talking like 1.5 era. I'm not talking like Global Offensive. I'm not talking Source. I'm talking like Counter-Strike 1.5 era. I'm talking like classic age. And then later on in my life, I never played for a pro team, but I played at a level in which I was alongside competitive Dota players. That is to say, when I was watching the Dota International, I was recognizing people who I had played against. I was saying, oh, hey, that's what he's up to now. I haven't talked to him for a while, when they were in the semifinals. And I'm like, oh, hey, I recognize them. So I have a bit of gamer cred for both the MOBA and for the first-person shooter, the first-person co-op shooter. Of which Deadlock is a perfect blend of the two. It's just equal parts Counter-Strike, or Valorant if you prefer in the modern style, and Dota. Now, I have plenty of hot takes about Dota and why it's a better game than many other things, but honestly, Deadlock has done a lot of the heavy lifting for me in explaining why things like last hits and denies are good mechanics that cause a interesting conflict in lane. Now, right out of the gate, apparently all of my last Kelvin games I've been losing. Been interesting. But overall, I've played 122 games, plus more time spent in the lab working out things, with a total playtime of 107 hours. So, this gives you an idea of where I am in that. My most played is Mo and Krill. So, I just want to run down the line, talk about you know what? What are we going to do first? What are we going to do first? I know what we're going to do first. First, we're just going to hop into the sandbox and talk for a little while about the core mechanics of the game. Yeah, I know, you've heard all this before. First of all, there's a dash. If you hit space in the middle of a dash, you do a dash jump. It costs 2 stamina and gets you further. It's good. So, if you don't get the last hit, you get nothing. This is one mechanic that's dubious there. If you don't get the last hit on a creep, it is as if that creep was worth nothing. If you shoot it, you get amount of money, a soul goes up. After the soul evaporates, above you, you get another additional chunk of money. I want to talk about what I see players doing wrong. Also, if you punch a creep to kill it, you get the soul claim immediately. You get about half up front and half upon getting the soul, roughly. And you can claim the soul by shooting it. Easy as you shoot the soul in the air after it pops up, and you get the extra money. But you get that money after a few seconds anyways. Why do you have to shoot it? Because if you don't, somebody else will. If the enemy team shoots the soul out of the air, then they will get the money for that creep. This is called a deny. Now, this has been a function in Dota forever. The idea of last hits and denies. Except in Dota, it actually comes from a strange place. In Dota, it comes from a place of... In Dota, it's a weird quirk, initially, of the Warcraft 3 engine. You see, whoever kills a minion gets that minion's XP and gold. And initially, if you killed your own minion, the enemy team doesn't get any XP or gold from that kill. So, by killing your own dudes, you could effectively just deny the enemy team all of the money. Or did that just get disabled? Oh, that's... Oh, hold on. Did they just disable some of the in-work heroes? Because I know there's... I believe they're scheduled to be coming out tomorrow. Ooh, interesting. Spicy. Okay. Okay, so... Several of the new... Okay, I was going to show off some of the new heroes that were not released yet. But it looks like some of them, 2 of them are on deck ready to be put in the game and won't let you switch onto them. Unless they're in here already. No, they're not. I am planning on showing off some of the in-work heroes, and I'll be talking about them certainly. But I do have additional knowledge of heroes that are not yet available and are only available through console commands. I don't know for a fact they're coming out tomorrow, but if they delisted them from the console command select today, that means that they're probably on deck, and those 2 heroes were basically done. They were basically complete. Anyways. In Dota, last hitting a carrot model gives you the gold for it, and you don't get the gold otherwise. And denying a model gets you, well, nothing, but it denies the gold from the enemy, both by denying them the opportunity to last hit, and in turn just, removing the chance of getting that last hit from them, but in addition of denying them all of the XP. Now, that was changed later in Dota, so you don't lose all of the XP when that happens. You lose a portion of it. But the fundamental idea works really well, because both allies and opponents are fighting over the same creeps. This is one thing that League of Legends fails at. By having both sides fighting over the same creeps, you have a conflict in lane between both players, between all players in lane, making a more interesting laning phase, more interesting laning stage. And this game follows in the vein of Dota. Now, why am I front-loading this? I'm front-loading this because of the biggest mistake that I see players make, both new and everybody's new at the game. I'll have to acknowledge that. I have to admit that. Everybody's new at the game. But the one problem I see players who are at lower skill quality, let's call it that, shall we, than others, is a failure to comprehend the importance of this. In the laning phase, hitting the creeps is both your gold and your XP, because the number of souls you get is both the amount of gold that you gain and the amount of XP that you gain functionally. Both it's what you use to level up, and it's what you use to spend on money, on things, on items and upgrades. So it's even more critical than it is in Dota, where you can get by without getting last hits, if you as long as you can get some creeps from the jungle. We can get a buy without getting as much XP, because you can buy things as a support that you wouldn't have otherwise. In this game, that's simply not an option. In this game, you live and die off of the amount of money you get and how well you set yourself up in the laning phase. That is how well you're going to play out the rest of the game. What is the laning phase? I said that word, now let me explain it. The laning phase is the first X minutes of the game, usually about 15, sometimes more, sometimes less. It depends on your hero, it depends on the play, it depends on a bunch of things. But in general, it's the beginning of the game where you and a few other players are just fighting in lanes. During this stage of the game, your role is going to change based on your hero, but by and large, your only real goal is to set yourself up for the later parts of the game. The early parts of the game set you up for the later ones. In the later stages of the game, these things will be dictated by how well you do the laning phase. If you have more gold, more money, more XP going into the later phases of the game, great. Then all of your dreams will come true. And if you don't, then you may struggle throughout the rest of the game as your opponents simply begin to absolutely snowball through everything that you do, or try to do, and fail to do. This is a game of skill primarily, but there is no denying that there is a function of farm. Skill will outweigh farm, but farm is how you get the items that you need to be able to use your skill effectively in a large battle. Farm is how you get yourself set up with enough HP to deal with enemy people who are trying to gank you. It'll set you up with enough items to be able to support your team or get the kills that you want. It will set you up for the entire duration of the game, and you need... This is important. Now, what do I see people doing wrong? I've said a whole bunch of words about what people are doing incorrectly without explaining why it's wrong. What are they doing wrong? What's incorrect about what they're doing? Well, I see a lot of people focusing on harassing the enemy hero. People will ignore the lane creeps and focus on shooting the enemy hero. Now, shooting the enemy hero does not give you any gold, any XP. It does not give you any resource. The only thing it does is... it does two things. There are two things that shooting the enemy hero does. One, putting them at lower HP can scare them. And if they're scared, they'll play more defensively, they'll play further back, you'll have more space to get creeps. If they're at half health, they're probably going to hide behind their tower and just try to get what little bit they can. And you will be in a position where you have more lane control, where you can dominate the lane and have a better grasp on how many creeps you get. The other thing that it can do is that you can get a kill. If you can get a kill early game, then you just got a ton of money. A kill is worth like 300 gold in the early phase, 250 to 300 or so. That 250 to 300 gold is a lot. It's a significant amount. It is an amount that you should be paying attention to. I'm just going to grab that for walking around. And Fleetfoot. No. Where's the one that lets you kinetic dash? So. If you can't get a kill, then killing... First of all, if you can get a kill, killing 5 creeps is worth more than getting 1 hero kill. After the 8-minute mark, which is when creeps start to be worth double, when they start to be worth about 120, 140, including the soul, then you only need to get 4 or 5, 4 or so creeps, 3 maybe, to make up the value of a single kill. And yet I see people focusing entirely on enemy heroes to the exclusion of their own creep totals. And honestly, it's annoying for me because I don't harass nearly as much as I should. I prefer to play in a duo lane. I prefer to be the one getting last hits, while my allies are the ones getting the I'm not doing a little bit of harass to push them back. Though that will depend on the hero and the situation. Okay, so 2 waves are worth more than 1 kill. Split between 2 people, yes. If you're in a solo lane, then even less than that. Sorry, is the title Deadtalk intended? Yeah, we're talking about Deadlock. We're not. This isn't going to be a gameplay video. This is going to be a talk video. We're talking about Deadlock. We're not actually going to be playing at the moment. I mean, we're going to be playing around in this mode here, but we're not going to be firing up an actual game until the very end of the stream, if at all. They might have new names of the programming instead of the test names. I checked their canon names, and that wasn't in there either. So it is possible, but the fact that they have set that up implies things. Oh yeah, did they fix my ability to buy items? I should check that.
Swing by anytime.
They did. Good. Okay, great. There was a glitch in last patch. So, people keep on trying to harass and try to get kills, and then I can go through a lane, get killed twice, and have no damage on the enemy tower, and then win the lane convincingly. Win that lane blindingly powerfully. I can have that sort of lane and then end up having 3k souls when my opponent has, 2.7, even though I've died twice. And that's just by getting last hits and denies. It's not hard. If they fail to kill me and just kind of get some damage on me instead of actually getting a kill out of it, then it's even more distinct. It's even more marked. It's even more significant. And I have had lanes where I have eclipsed my opponent's CS by double. And that's... You don't want to be in the receiving end of that. It's like, oh man, I killed him twice. Okay, but you've lost. And people are not realizing they've lost the lane. So, what is video games? What is the current meta? Well, it's hard to say. I would say that there's the beginnings of a push meta. I've had a lot of success with auras, though I can't say it's been an aura meta, not by any stretch of the imagination. Though people seem genuinely unprepared to deal with someone taking a support role. People seem genuinely confused and scared when it comes to the concept of somebody playing support. Something that I, personally, excel at. Can I get Kali? I can. Still not... This guy is one of the least done heroes. But the one that I'm most excited for, because he is actually built as a support. So. And that's supposed to be a knockdown, but it's still not doing that yet. Oh, okay, we do have some of these. Good, I'll just send this one for a little while to show it off.
An excellent choice.
I don't actually usually buy superior stamina or kinetic dash. It's more I'm just having these because it's fun to walk around with them. And on it, I want to show off one of the new heroes. Okay, so of all the heroes, how am I feeling about different ones? I should just go through them all.
No one's taking
Abrams,
from me.
I see people playing wrong all the time. I am going to go through every single hero here. I'm going to talk with you in chat. If you have any questions, I shall answer. And we'll just go with that format for now. But Abrams is the hero that I don't like the way it's been played. The way Abrams' meta has gone has been very, frankly, unfortunate. What have people been doing to earn the ire of Jade the Kobold? Well, people have been playing Abrams either as a melee specialist, where their big focus is on melee strikes, which is not bad because most of his abilities do synergize with being up close to the enemy, hitting him into walls, putting up an AoE target here. I understand the appeal. It feels like melee should be a correct answer, right? So why isn't it? Because at my tier of play, you can't melee. You can't. Melee is no longer an option at a certain level of play. Now, I am not best in the world. I am not playing at a pro level. In fact, my biggest problem right now is that I am playing at a higher level than I can play at. Comfortably. I'm getting to the point where I'm not having as much fun with the game because my skill level is getting to super tryhard areas. Now, I might join ranked and might eat my own words and that, but like what I've been playing against so far, you can't melee. If you charge up a heavy attack, no you didn't. If you charge up a heavy attack, you are going to get parried. What is a parry? A system that I don't particularly like. 1-1000, 2-1000. It's a 2-second stun. 1-1000, 2-1000. It's a 2-second stun if somebody sees you charge up a melee attack. And look how easy it is to land. all you have to do is get it up before it hits you. And you can be pretty... It's pretty flexible, too. If you can see that charge up, you can parry 10 out of 10 times. And at certain skill levels, you can no longer play a melee character. Because that heavy melee attack is just a way of getting yourself stunned for 2 seconds. It's the opposite of something that will help you. It's the opposite of of an attack. It's an unattack. And if you build for melee, then you are going to get annihilated.
You wanna fight me?
As someone just, you know, shoots you in the back of the head 16 times while you're on, well, your melee attack is on stun. So how do I build Abrams? My build for Abrams focuses on auras. I mentioned this earlier. Those of you who are paying attention, hi, how's it going? Oh, I love you. Those of you who are paying attention will notice that I've been talking about auras. Auras are exactly what it sounds like. I'm not breaking any new ground here.
If you need more protection, you know where
Torment Pulse does spirit damage to enemies nearby. Cool, now I can do a little bit of minor chip damage to enemies nearby. Look at that, 50 damage? That's not worth it. Jade, why are you recommending this? It's trash garbage. It's trash garbage tier. I'll explain to you why Mystic Slow is so good. Mystic Slow says if target takes spirit damage, they have their movement speed and fire rate reduced by 40% and 30% irrespectively. Watch this guy run. Watch his move speed. Do you see how much of a difference that makes? That slow makes a big difference in your ability to chase, and 40% again basically castrates anybody who is trying to do gun damage. My existing near this man's is causing him to move 30% slower. It's amazing. It's good. It's solid. It's not the only thing we got, though. Why? It's not even close to the only thing we got. Because we have Hunter's Aura. 10% fire rate slow and minus 9% bullet resist, so it effectively plus 27% bullet damage from your entire team.
You wanna buy a mug to go
You
with
grab this, and all of a sudden, enemies that are nearby see you right there. And if there's only one enemy nearby, it's tripled. That's minus 30% fire rate slow, stacking on top of 40% fire rate slow. They are multiplicative. So I believe that's like 65%? I don't know, it's somewhere in that range. It's a lot. It's enough to make you sad. And then you grab Heroic Aura, which buffs your minions by a lot, but also can give your allies fire rate,
I got one of
which
those
is nice.
big
Surge of Power for extra move speed on there? Sure. Improved Reach? Hey, guess what? That affects the pulse. Improved Reach affects not only your abilities, but your items as well. All of your auras, bigger. Put it on Siphon Life, why not? Now Siphon Life has enormous aura, you take up a battlefield. Do you see the theme of this? The theme is that I don't need to fight them. I don't need to fight the enemy. My mere existence in their general vicinity castrates them. Simply by existing on the same battlefield, they are being debuffed so hard that my role isn't even to shoot them anymore. It's just to stay near them. There we go. Lost that timing. Probably am gonna buy. Probably am gonna add this to my build for 3K. That probably is legit worth it. Also getting some ammunition. Yeah, solid. So this is how I build Abrams, and I think that if you see Abrams in any higher level play, you will never see the damage, the melee build. The melee build simply does not scale. Whereas when simply being near an enemy is enough to swing the entire tide of battle. Also, Mystic Leap for initiators, just to get you in there. just to get you there. Also, alchemical fire
An excellent choice.
is pretty good because it's just a damage field. Put it on an area. You do solid damage, and you apply Mystic Slow. Again, Mystic Slow is the backbone of this build, and I've seen a lot of people just ignore it on heroes that absolutely should be running it. This is a support ability for your team. It doesn't get you kills, it gets your team kills. This build on Abrams, you will go 4 kills and 8 deaths and 23 assists, and you will win. That's the general idea. You win off the backbone of the the swing of the team fight, of being able to say, hey, everybody in this postal code is taking damage. Everybody in this postal code is slowed, has is weakened. If you need to go up on top of this, get inhibitor, minus 35% damage penalty anytime you shoot somebody, plus some health on top of it. Fantastic. Other than that, everything else is just health. What can you do to survive longer? If the longer you were alive in a fight, the better. Because right now with the 2 builds for Abrams, it's either melee build, where again you simply cannot melee build. It is a simple impossibility to melee build at a certain skill level.
Big
and
mistake.
Or tank build, where you go all defensive items, so you're just insanely bulky because it synergizes with his ability to stay in a fight. Cool. Without the auras, people can just ignore you. And that's generally what I've seen people do against Abrams. It's generally what I do against Abrams. You just ignore Abrams until he goes away. You kill all the teams around him first. With this build here, you can't ignore Abrams because you can't kill the team around him until you deal with him. I don't have this big a spiel for every single character, but I'm setting something up. You see, this is like a whole setup. I'm setting up the concept of this support role, of this support class, so that you can see it and recognize it, because there's going to be other characters I'm going to recommend it for, and I'm not going to have to say it. I do this again every single time. I should probably get this kinetic dash more often. I tend to ignore it. Especially on Abrams, where I don't need that many. Oh yeah, also Siphon Bullets got buffed. It's probably going to get nerfed soon. It's bananas good. Buy Siphon Bullets. They're absolutely cracked. They're unhinged right now. If you're playing this before they get nerfed, but buy Siphon Bullets. They are bananas. Does that also reload? No, just temp ammo. Alright. I'm not going to give as much about everyone, but I'm going to say what I see people doing that I like and that I don't like with each hero. Now we're on the Bebop. Bebop has a beam gun, which is really good. Like, this is an extremely good gun. You have to recognize the range, though. See that? You have to be able to recognize what your range is, because instead of having any damage drop-off, you simply do no damage. So, if you're going to play Bebop, you're going to have to learn what his range looks like. Otherwise, you will cease to be effective. The number of times I've seen a Bebop doing that, and then just standing in front of it like, what? It's funny. You can also use this to paint and get the last hits and denies. Of course, every hero gets last hits and denies, same thing as normal. But Bebop is one of the few characters that I can justifiably say you do want to be aggressive on the enemy. Because you can grab somebody, put a bomb on them, and knock them away. The grab hooks them in, does some damage. The sticky bomb does pretty solid damage. And the blast away, yeah, the blast away is solid. Now, the blast away does as much damage on things around it than on the target. Like, it didn't actually hurt them, right? I see a lot of Bebops doing this combo, this 3-2-1. Grab, sticky, blast. It doesn't hurt the target that you're hitting. Please, I am begging you to stop just automatically braining in 3, 2, 1. Because if you are going to do that, my dear, dear friends, you could be losing a kill. You are doing a lot of damage with that sticky bomb. You are pulling them out of position into your clutches. Please, don't hit them away. Or knock them back the other way. Knock them towards your team. Knock them into a tower. But the number of Bebops that I've seen just go grab, sticky, throw. The number of Bebops I've seen just be like, oh yeah, grab, sticky, throw, is ridiculous. When in fact it should be grab, sticky, laser. Just actually do damage. Shoot the enemy mans. Don't throw them back unless you are ready to throw them back, because this does not really hurt them. This does the same damage, as a regular melee attack. All you're doing to the enemy with this is one light melee attack worth of damage. The damage from the knockback comes from that. It comes from having them land on somebody, which can be good to clear a creep wave, which can be good to do, it can be good, don't get me wrong. But you don't need to send them back immediately. Grab, sticky, shoot. That is the combo you're going to want. Or if you think that they don't have anywhere to run behind, grab, sticky, beam. Because you have an area. See that area around you? See this area around me? That purple area on the ground? That's a damage field. Even if they don't get hit by the beam, that's a damage field. Look at that! Look how good that is! So what you can do is grab, sticky, beamu. Now they're going to be panicking, running away, taking a bazillion damage, and you don't even need to target them if they're up close to you. I mean, you will, because you want to make sure that because they're going to be trying to dodge well out of it. But like, lay into them, crush them, destroy your opponents. Don't just send them away. Don't just send them away so they can find cover. I think Bebop is an extremely good hero. I think that Bebop is a character that we will see a lot of. I think that Bebop is going to be valuable at all levels of skill. And I think that people, if you want to send them back, send them back. As in, actually send them the opposite way that you pulled them. Like that. Because that is a true combo. Make no mistake. This is a true combo. Grab, move. Send them to a different location. And yes, you can bonk your allies. And keep this in mind as well, because hey, look, here's a, I don't know, a Lash. Lash? Wreck him up, boy. Just don't hook him in when they don't want it.
Looks like I'll have to cancel class this afternoon.
Dynamo is one of my favorite heroes.
My friend's survival
Genuinely.
is paramount.
I adore the Professor. Bonk is good. Teleport is okay. You can't use it to chase is the problem. Because 1/1000, the second you take before you start moving, removes the value of it. Removes the value of using it to escape, because bam! Meanwhile, your opponent is going like that. Like, meanwhile, your opponent is already in a different postal code, you know? Like, just look at the difference between here, I've gone 18 or so meters, versus I've gone a little bit further, much faster. So, I do think that the Professor is amazing, though. Because this can disjoint! That's right. There's several delayed stuns in this game. 7 has one. The Bebop one that we just saw does damage after about a second or so. And you can disjoint that. If you get hit with Wraith's ultimate, which binds you in the air for a few seconds, after about a 2-second delay, you can just say, nah, not in the mood for that. 1/1000, one boof.
Locating.
During that time, the proc for the lift will go off. You will be non-existent. You'll be in the bubble, and then you come back in. You're good. It's amazing. His heal is good for early game laning. You can still dash with it. You can still dash jump. Oh no, I'm sorry. You cannot dash jump because you can't hit the jump button. Otherwise, it'll cancel it. Right. So you cannot dash jump with it, but you can dash with it. If you see your ally using this, do not run away from them. I am begging you. Do not run away from your ally when they're trying to heal you. Pretty please. This is a Dynamo player asking you from the bottom of my heart, do not run away from me while I'm trying to heal you. Look, if you want heals, go towards me, and if you want to die, then go do it in another lane because I'm trying to save you here. Okay? Anyways, his ultimate's Black Hole, and you know what Black Hole does. It's good. You hit the button, the enemies get pulled in, take a bunch of damage, and die. One thing I want to point out that not enough people are recognizing as well is there are 2 functions to Majestic Leap. Now, again, because of what I just said here, this isn't an initiation. You can't really go blink into that. It doesn't realistically work. It just doesn't, because you can't get far enough, you can't get deep enough, you can't get your position, you can't get your initiation, you can't get to where you want to be to use it. Which is unfortunate. Oh, they changed that. Okay. I was about to give a recommendation for something that was not patched. That has been patched. Okay, well that's unfortunate. Last patch, Reactive Barrier, which gives you bullet and spirit shields when you're movement locked, stunned, chained, immobilized, or slept, actually would also proc if you were the one to stun, immobilize, or movement lock yourself. And because you movement locked during Black Hole, you would actually get that bonus. That has changed, so that is no longer a function of that weapon ability. Tragic. Anyways, what I was saying about Mystic Leap. Mystic Leap gets you in there. But you see how it says press F to drop down? Because that's the button I have it set to. Do that. Do that, because going up is nice, but this boosts you downwards. Do you see that downwards boost? That is how you use this ability. That is incredibly powerful. Oh, okay. That was a mess up. Use the drop down. Use the second half of the Majestic Leap. It's so good. That downward boost lets you choose your swoop landing spot. And you can pinpoint where you land. Instead of going up here, trying to just dash, trying to just land. No, you want to get you want to get on the ground as quickly as you went up. You want to go up, get down, get him. And spam the 1 key. It's just spam Kinetic Pulse. Just mash. Just mash Kinetic Pulse while you are in Black Hole, because you're going to want to hit him with it. Basically, it just extends the disable period. It just keeps them bound up for longer. It's extremely good, and I recommend it. What do I build on him? I build the same sort of Torment Pulse Mystic Slow. I don't usually go full auras. Sometimes I will. But if I can beg you to do another thing, and I'm begging you to do a lot of things. I recognize that. I'm sorry. But if I can beg you to do one other thing, change your build every game. Change your build based off the needs of that game, based off of the opponents you're facing. Change your build based off of what your build needs to be in that moment. If you are dealing with somebody who is a soloist who's going out and ganking like a Lash or a Haze or someone like that, Hunter's Aura will help stop them. It'll make it easier to turn on them if they're alone. Are you dealing with with just big team fights. Torment, Pulse, Mystic, Slow Meat gives you that same sort of things as Abrams. Are you dealing with people who are incredibly bulky, enemies who have a ton of health? Toxic Bullets deals percentage damage, percentage of their current health, 5%. Do they have 1,000? Do they have 3,000 health? Cool. You're going to be doing a crap ton of damage off toxics. Are you getting absolutely ripped apart? Are you getting absolutely eradicated? Return Fire, Metal Skin. Return Fire fires bullets back at you if they attack you, and Metal Skin makes you immune to bullets. You are still being hit by the bullets. That may have changed. Actually, now I'm reading this, they may have patched that again. Do I have a way of testing that? Let me see this. The way it worked before is you could hit Metal Skin and Return Fire, and it would still backlash damage. Yep, see? It does. Yep, it works great. Hit Return Fire at the same time as hitting Metal Skin, and if any enemy that is chewing into you with health will be taking damage back from how much damage they do, while you take no actual damage yourself. It's incredible. It catches people off the guard. Now, I've talked about high skill level things. Are you going to say, hey, Jade, that's not going to work at a certain skill level because they'll realize it and stop attacking you? It's true. But guess what? That means they're not attacking you anymore. Like, okay, you got me. Now this means you can't attack me for 3.5 seconds. Like, I'm okay with that outcome. Just don't attack me. Bet. But here's the other thing, though. Let's say you're up against an Infernus, a Wraith. Let's say you're going up against someone who has Ricochet. Ricochet applies bullet procs to everything around them, meaning that with Ricochet, they will be damaging themselves on anything that they hit you with. So they hit creeps around you, it ricochets to you, they take Return Fire. They target your allies, it ricochets to you, they take Return Fire. This is underrated as heck and needs to be respected. 60% of incoming bullet damage, 30% of incoming spirit damage. 30% of incoming spirit damage. If you see Great Talon drop an owl on you, just hit Return Fire, and they just take, and they just take like 300 damage themselves. And because Improved Burst increases the amount of damage that's done, this is going to return that as well. This is not a separate source of damage. That increases the damage of the ability, meaning that you will Return Fire the full amount. I guess it would anyways because of the way it works, but hush. So this is how I build Dynamo. I change it based on my opponents. Sometimes I want to grab slowing bullets to help my enemy, to help my people deal with things. Sometimes I grab Divine Barrier because this. Yeah, sure.
Swing by any time.
This is a poor man's Diviner Shield, 260 armor, 260 bullet armor, and it's on a 30-second cooldown, which is not bad. But here's the thing: it also gives you move speed. Put that up, you're moving faster. You're shimmying and shaking. Guess what? That means you're faster on this as well. Put this up, come in, boom. That's the dream. The dream is to get off your black hole. And let me just say this. If your opponents are spreading out, if your opponents are running away, if your opponents are playing in a way that you can't get black hole off, good. Because what that means is that your opponents are nerfing themselves. They are playing around you, and that's a good thing because you are controlling how they're playing. All of a sudden, you don't get superior cooldown because they're avoiding sticking together. So you don't bother with the superior cooldown. You just start getting other stuff. You grab some Mystic Vulnerability. Grab some Siphon Bullets because there's broken as heck right now. If your opponents are already strategizing to avoid black hole, then you've already won by virtue of them not sticking together, by them breaking their own team cohesion, and you don't have to build your entire item set around black hole anymore. All of a sudden, you're freed up to build your item set however you want. That's a good thing. That's just a good thing. Alright, we're going to go through some of these a bit faster. Great Talon. You shoot things. Okay, no, I'm kidding. I'm not going that fast, okay? No, this... Look, that was... First of all, his bow looks like a Nerf gun that I had in the 90s. I have to say it. I had this bow as a Nerf gun in the 90s. Look. You know what if you know, you know. You know what I'm talking about. Don't pretend you don't. I had one of these. Anyways, about Great Talon himself. Flight is very good because of the spread attack, but you can dodge in midair. Do not forget to dodge in midair. Again, you can't dash jump because space will simply cancel Rain of Arrows. So the classic dash jump is inaccessible for that. Also, just for the record, because it's relevant for Great Talon, learn to wall jump. It doesn't take stamina. It's look at my stamina bar. That was a double jump. Why isn't it going? Okay, I've just filled it. Why am I not doing it here? Is this area an area you can't do it on? Weird. Wall jumps are good, and you can get into some very funny areas with them. There's some very silly stuff that you can do there. And Great Talon's a good candidate to use it on. So is Lash. Pay attention to that. Also, if you are in the air, make sure that you still have cover. The best thing you can do in the air is to have long range and sharpshooter because of the weapon damage fall off. You want your weapon damage fall off to be minimized. You want this to help you. Why? Well, I mean, duh. But beyond that, your best defense while in the air is range. If I can shoot the enemy...
Tell you what, I'll throw in a free keychain.
Yeah, let me just show off the difference here. From here, I'm hitting him for 12 damage. With sharpshooter, 28. So, more than double. Come on. That was a headshot, so... 31. 12 to 31 at that range. What keeps you safe in the air, where you have no cover and are moving very slow, you are debuffed right now. Make no mistake, you are actually debuffed in the air. Simply because you don't have mobility as options, and there isn't as much high cover in the game. What you need to protect yourself is the extra range. So use the extra range to your advantage, because that's what is keeping you alive when you rain of arrows. Otherwise, you will get shot out of the air, and you will not be able to dodge, and you will get annihilated because people will see you in the air and be like, oh, hey, easy target, pow, 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 shoot you down. Which brings me to a very important point. Anybody can buy this. Anybody can buy sharpshooter. When you think snipers in this game, you think Great Talon Vindicta. You know who's a good sniper? Warden. if I have an enemy who is an enemy Vindicta or an enemy Grey Talon, I grab Warden, I grab a Sharpshooter, and all of a sudden, I am now... I'm hitting them for 60 bazillion damage while they're in the air, and they can't do anything about it, because the only thing that's keeping them alive is their range, because when they're in the air, they are a lot weaker. They don't have mobility. They're reliant on that the range, on outranging your opponent. So they're doing full damage, and you're doing half or a quarter damage to them, or a third damage to them, I think it is. You solve that by not letting them do that to you. If you're getting wrecked by a Vindicta, buy long range. Buy a Sharpshooter if you can afford it. If you're getting wrecked by a Grey Talon, buy long range. If they go in the air, man fight them. Just be like, oh, you're gonna go in the air and shoot me? Sure, I've got you. I will shoot you back. They don't expect it. They expect that if they're the only people who buy long range, and they never see it coming. You can obliterate their face and destroy their happiness. I'm not exaggerating, is a thing. But, and if you're playing a Grey Talon, watch out for that. Don't go in the air every engagement. If you know that your opponents are countering that, then drop down early. Drop down when you see them. Pay attention to it. Make sure that you have these signs here, right?
Will rain down.
These signs can help block some of the line of sight against some enemies. See that creep there? I can block line of sight to it while still having a good view of the battlefield. This is important, very important, for a character like this. Other than that, it's a fairly straightforward character.
There you are.
Shoot arrows. Yeah, fly on things. Binding Trap is good. Always use it. Cover doorways with it. Use Binding Trap to cover choke points. Don't just throw it down in the middle of a lane. Use Binding Trap to isolate choke points. Now this guy can't go through there. That's what you want Binding Trap to do. If you just throw a Binding Trap somewhere, sure you can, but the real value of it is to make sure that you don't get ganked. Remember, you can dodge in midair. One last thing.
Higher ground.
Cancel early. You still get your spread shot and damage buff until you hit the ground. So if things start to get awkward, drop out and take your extra 3 shots while you're floating down. All champs. I'm going through all the champions right now. I'm going through all the heroes right now because this is, you know, a Dota based off Dota, not League, so they're heroes, not champions. But yes, I'm going through everybody. But yeah, that's pretty much covers it aside from his ult, because this adds, like, yeah. You want to do a bunch of damage, that's all. Most of the default builds are pretty good, but again, change your build based on the situation. Sometimes you might need to grab something to survive. You might want to grab that superior stamina because it gives you the air dash distance. Because all of a sudden, if your opponents are countering you in the air, look at that. All of a sudden your air dash is significant. You're not being castrated in the middle of the air. Where without it, you're only going here. Getting this superior stamina.
A little protection goes a long way.
It's saying, oopsies. It's something that you don't see a lot of people paying attention to, but it makes a difference. Plus, also, someone in chat commented on how Kelvin will wreck your face. If you have more stamina than him, you can run away faster. I mean, it's obvious, right? But if you're dealing with a Kelvin and you buy superior stamina and nothing else, you now have, count them out with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars of stamina. Kelvin will never buy this item. He has 3. So all of a sudden, you dodge, 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 and it's 7 bars, but it's functionally 8 because by the time you use 7, you will have another bar lined up. So you can just dodge, dash, dodge, dash. You can evade Kelvin a lot more effectively. Kelvin's ability is blocking yours? That's true. I mean, you're right there. But I thought you were meaning being ambushed with freezing beams. You're right about that. Yeah. Kelvin's abilities can block mine. But, yeah. The ability to also double jump twice. Oop, that was a bit awkward on that one. Hold on. But yeah, the ability to double jump thrice, or, remember, oopsies. 1, 2, 3. Look how far up I can get. Yeah, can I jump out? I can jump up this way. 1, 2, 3. Look at how far up I can get without using any ropes.
On the move.
And look, your flight height is based off your starting height. Look at how high up I am. Look at how high up I can go. It's redonkulous. So again, wall jump, 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 fly. Puts you so much. I'm basically at the ceiling cap right now. I'm basically at ceiling height. Map ceiling. And that's without any ropes, without anything else on any building in the game. 1, 2, 3.
Finding a better angle.
Flight up. This gives you cover where you might not find cover elsewhere. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Haze ganking you? Is Haze suddenly point blank with you? Well, you can't go left or right. She'll chase you. You can go up.
On the ground, I'm dead.
Bam. Solved. Just handled, right? Like, don't underestimate your mobility here. Okay, we spent enough time here. Haze, who I was just talking about a minute ago. Huh? So, Haze, everyone knows how Haze works. She's a ganker, she unloads a lot of damage, she has arguably the second highest damage potential in the game, and Affliction just stacks up the amount of damage you do faster and faster. High velocity magazines are good so that you can hit enemies farther away. Bullet velocity can be significant. And it's honestly just a good early game item. Honestly, her bullet velocity is pretty good already, but it's still pretty good, I think. Shoot faster so you get more stacks of fixation is obvious, right? Everybody knows that. Nobody doesn't expect it. But, like, go for the slowing bullets. The more slow that you apply, the safer you are on shooting them, right? If you can get them to movement slow, then you can aim easier. This is true at any level of play. And Silencer is expensive, but can be what you need, because there are some ways of countering Haze late game, right? Late game, how do you counter Haze? You counter her with disables. You take a Paradox, you take arguably a 7, you take a good Viscous. There are ways that you can shut down Haze late game by chaining stuns or, like I said before, stacking minus auras. Stacking minus auras is extremely potent. What do you do to deal with that? How do you fix that? How do you make that less of a problem? Again, change your build every single game. There is no... I also never put an ability build on any of my builds, because that is something that I also adapt based on every individual game. Also, learn to dash jump, for goodness sake. Everybody, learn to dash jump. You need this. It's good. You needed it. Sorry. But, debuff reducer. 30% debuff resist. Reduce the duration of all negative effects on you. It won't stop Black Hole because the negative effect is a function of... the effect is actually on the Professor, not on you. But, again, situationally, minus 30% debuff resist will help you a lot. Do you have an enemy who has a slow? Do you have an enemy... because you don't have a lot of health. If you get ganked by 2 people, you probably need to book it. Get a debuff reducer. It's good. Likewise, now, again, yes, I know, you almost always want to get a bunch of... Hunter's Aura, again, reminder. This is triple effect on enemy if no one else is around. You are ganking people when no one else is around. This is plus 27% damage. It's plus 30% damage and minus 30% incoming damage. This is good. Like, Hunter's Aura should be core on on Haze. It does everything you want it to do. I buy it on other characters because it's a team fight item and it's a support item. I buy it on Haze because it's a ganking item. It's both. If you can isolate somebody, which Haze wants to do because that's how her ult works, then this will shred them. But anyways, if you're getting obliterated in team fight, if you have a bunch of team fights where you are getting killed first thing in the fight,
Come back if you need anything else.
pick up that combo I mentioned earlier. Return fire, metal skin. Okay, everyone is if the enemy team says, and you can tell if they say this, if you just listen if you just watch them, not like listen to their comms, you can effectively listen to their comms just by paying attention. If they are saying, hey guys, kill Haze first, all guns on Haze, get Haze down at the beginning of the team fight.
I'm not afraid of
Okay, all guns on me, I'm returning all that damage. That is 4250. 4,000 money dollars gives you metal skin, return fire, and now you are invincible for 3.5 seconds, and any damage incoming is being spat right back out on them for 7 seconds. If they are determined to kill you first, then plan accordingly. Don't go down the list of whatever your build is. Adapt. Haze's ult does more damage with one target than AoE? Yeah. Well, okay, 2 targets at base. You hit 2 targets in range. If there's more than 2 people there, then it's 2 targets picked at random. So if you see a Haze ult and there's 2 allies around, get in there. You will reduce the damage and spread it out amongst all of you, which means less fixation stacks per person, which means that she's not going to get a kill, and there's going to be 3 people at half health staring at her going, okay, girl, now it's time for you. Yeah, Bullet Dance hits 2 targets per shot, and if there's more than 2 targets, yeah, didn't know that? Only per hero too? It will prioritize heroes. I believe. I'm not 100% certain actually. I believe this will prioritize heroes in the group. I haven't checked. I don't main Haze. If the shop wasn't toxic. Oh, the shop is my favorite thing in this game because you can adapt, right? You heard me saying about this return fire metal skin combo, but like the ability to adapt your build based on the fight is part of why I love this game. So I hope that you are able to get used to it and overcome that, because it is genuinely like it will in time become a positive for you. The big question with Haze is where do you put Quicksilver Reload? Because you need Quicksilver Reload, right? Quicksilver Reload instantly reloads your gun when you use an ability. What ability do you put it on? Well, you don't put it on Bullet Dance because why would you? That's silly. Which leaves this one's passive, so it doesn't do anything if it has no active component. So what do you put on? Do you put on Smoke Bomb or Sleep Dagger? And I think this depends on the enemies. Some games, if the enemies are staying split up, you want to put them to sleep, get in, Bullet Dance. But in a team fight, in a bigger game, in a bigger engagement, in a more difficult engagement, that's not going to work, right? You aren't going to be able to... If you can't isolate somebody, then your Sleep Dagger is just a utility tool. If your Sleep Dagger is a utility tool, make it be your reload. So focus on hitting Smoke Bomb to engage for this, and then unload on them, and just use that as a one-button reload button. That way you aren't clogging up any of your other stuff. You could put reload on Smoke Bomb if you want, but then you're not smoke bombing in the middle of an engagement, right? Because this has a 40-second cooldown. I think that it's better on Sleep Dagger, but then you can't use Sleep Dagger as an initiation tool as effectively. You have to change your gameplay based on it. That's what I'm saying. It's not that big a deal, but you gotta think about it, And there are some games where Smoke Bomb's not useful, and you're just going to be like, okay, I want to engage with Sleep Dagger. Bam. And then hit the And hit smoke bomb as a reload.
Only the cunning will survive.
Probably not. Like, it's situational, right? It's situational. Okay, who are we at next? Infernus is somebody who I've played a lot more. My opinions on him are better. Intense. Again, he relies very heavily. Early game. Again, this is. I'm gonna go back to what I said early game. Focus on last hits. You are not going to get kills off of Afterburn at the 10-minute mark, at the 5-minute mark. If you get a kill on an enemy, cool. You would have probably gotten that kill on them even if you didn't have Afterburn. Focus on last hits. Focus on last hits. Focus on nothing other than getting these last hits, because you have one of the better last hit guns in the game. A large 27 is a pretty high capacity clip. I don't know if it's a clip or a magazine, given that it's, you know, a finger. So I will let you guys just debate that in the comments section. But he has one of the best generic gunshots in the game. And if you can get all the last hits you can, do it. Focus on last hits and denies. This is what I would consider a carry. What's a carry? A carry in a MOBA sense is somebody who is weak early game and strong late game. Somebody who is trash garbage in the early game and must be protected, and in the late game, blindingly powerful and can solo the enemy team. Now, I wouldn't exactly say that he could solo the enemy team late game, nor would I say he's not very powerful early game, but think twice, depending on the lane matchup, if you even want Afterburn as your first skill. Because you might not. You might want to be able to say, you know what, nope, I'm out of here, going back to buy. You might want that to use your Flame Dash as your first skill, and save up for this later. You know? You only need one level of Flame Dash to get the absolute heck out of dodge. This is fast. That's real fast. I'm at 6.8 meters a second right now. I hit this. I'm at 20 meters a second. I'm going triple my opponent's speed. I'm going triple the enemy speed. So, like, your number one goal in the early game, like I said, if you don't get a kill, then your harass is useless. So focus on last hits, and if the enemy tries to get a kill on you, don't let them. Your number one job is not to die. Step one, don't die, right? You have one of the best last hit and deny guns in the game. Since once an enemy is staggered... Also, yeah, if you... let me get an enemy into stagger. This right here. That moment there is when an enemy is at 0 health. There and... That. It will take one bullet from any gun at any range to kill an enemy. That is when an enemy is at 0 health. See? You can see it on your own creeps too. And you have 30 bullets in your base gun round. This is going to be the same. I'm going to keep this in mind when we get to Wraith too. But take one shot, or however many shots you need, it doesn't really matter. Pop. 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 At 1 bullet per shot here, you can last hit and deny every single creep. And you have no reason not to, right? Yeah, if your opponent's leaving themselves out, if they're playing stupid, shoot them. Like, if they're playing stupid, yeah, punish them. But by and large, you don't need to try to get kills early game. You don't need to try and get kills until you have Swift Striker and Burst Fire. You don't need to try and get kills until you have your Swift Striker, Burst Fire, Slowing Bullets, Soul Shredder Bullets, Bullet Resist Shredder. Until you have your items, until you have... A Spiritual Overflow is amazing on him as well, by the way, but Ricochet is pretty close to a core item. Because most of the game, what your goal is farm. Most of the game, you want to be getting as much money XP as possible. Get an early game item set. And we'll get... how do I set creeps to be spawn? Spawn camp. So, now can I spawn camp? There we go. Throughout most of the game, your job is to find the farm. Look on the minimap. You should be looking at the minimap once every couple seconds anyways. Always be looking at the minimap, always be paying attention to the minimap. But if you find a creep camp that looks like you can get to it without enemy interference, do it. And if you see that cramp, melt it. That's why I think Ricochet as a first item is extremely powerful on him. Is it the best item for him? Maybe not. It helps in team fights because you can spread out your jazz jams across everybody. But... let me get this side jump. Just trying to be fancy. Yeah. Get the farm, find the farm on the map. Look across the map constantly to see where farm is available. If you see a lane, then no one's in that lane, then go farm that lane. If you see an enemy coming to attack you, leave. You don't need to fight them. You just need farm. Until late game, your primary job is get enough farm so that late game you are indestructible. So that you are invincible and cannot be stopped. Someone on your team should have that as their goal. Someone on their team should be focusing entirely on that. Doesn't really matter even who it is that's doing that, but so long as somebody is.
Do anything to keep the people of Spanish Harlem safe.
Ivy's stinking cute. Cutie patootie. 10 out of 10. Love her. I don't play her, sadly. A lot of the stuff about Ivy's pretty obvious. Kudzu Bomb does damage in slow. It's a 35% movement slow. If you get Mystic Slow, that's a 35% movement slow stacked on top of a 30% movement slow.
Katsu bomb. Throwing Katsu.
Look at how slow they move. Look at that absolute castration of speed. They cannot move. Where are you going? Where are you going, buddy? Look at that. Secondly, again, if you have to put it down, don't put it down in the middle of an area. Put it down on a choke point. Make it so that somebody walking through this door can't do so without both damage and a major move slow. She's a support. She buys support items. Healing booster. Get it. Healing right, if you want. Healing Nova, I'd say, it would be better. Heal people. Your tether. Healing is replicated among all those connected. Well, with an AoE heal, you are replicating it even more. So like here.
Slow 'em down.
Look at that amp. Now, without Covenant, it's good, but it's not nearly as effective. Because this one is just... You're healing each character, and therefore you're healing each character plus 30%. It's good. It's just good, folks. Stone Form can also, I believe, be used to disjoint if you're being stunned or staggered on something that's about to stun you, like, again, Seven's delayed stun, or Bebop's delayed hit, or, what's Wraith's ult?
I'm not going down
Just-
without a fight.
Go to Stone Form. Don't get hit by it. And airdrop is good. You all know how to use airdrop. If you've played against Ivy, you know how to use airdrop.
I got you.
We're going on an adventure. Don't be afraid to cancel it when you're done with it, right? Like, just... You can always hit 4 again to cancel out of it, so you can drop down when you need. Adapt your build. She's good. I've been trying to learn Kelvin, and I've been struggling. What I've been feeling like lately has been the idea of making him a bit more bullet focused with this sharpshooter headhunter combo. This lets you do very powerful things at longer range with a pristine emblem in it as well.
It's brutal out there, huh?
This lets you do heavy damage at good range. Also, headhunter is a really powerful early game item. And there's no range on your grenade. The grenade is one of the few weapons that effectively has no range as long as you can aim it. Like,
Where are you, my friend?
you can also set it not to instant cast if you want to actually aim it, which you should do. I set it globally set to never to everything instant cast right now. But like, it's one of the few weapons in the game that is not affected by distance, not affected by targeting distance, has no damage drop off, and is just really powerful. Though admittedly a lot of times you're using it at your own feet for the heal, but like that combined with surprisingly good left click is one option that I've been building towards with some effectiveness. The other option is the more traditional one, which is more focusing on... I don't even use Mystic Slow on him. Focusing on Surge of Power and Escalating Exposure to make Icy Time Party House. High potential damage. I don't know which is better. I've been struggling a little lately with Kelvin. I'm trying to figure him out.
Of course you picked me.
Don't look at Reddit.
Your patron gives freely.
You heard that Ivy can carry characters doing their ults? It's true. The 80k kudzu build? Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if it's how effective it is, but it's funny. Don't look at Reddit. This is the best advice I have for you. Do not actually look at reddit.reddit, because this is a game that's getting patches on a weekly and sometimes daily basis. You know? And like, if you look at like a Reddit tier list, first of all, don't do that. All the characters are good. Don't think that there's a tier list of characters that are good. The idea of that is inherently stupid. But I say this because all the tier lists list Geist as being low tier, which was true before she got buffed heavily. Geist is strong now. She has Soul Exchange. Swap your health for enemies. I mean, like, it's not that short range if you're in a close combat melee section against enemy heroes that are trying to, eat your face. Like, if you have a Lash or an Abrams on the enemy team, you'll have a Souls target. Essence Bomb does a bazillion damage. Essence Bomb, leaving the Toxic Mess, does a bazillion and then more damage. She's good. She's good now. Get her. That's the short version of it. She's good now. Get her. I don't really have a whole lot more specific to her, other than just to go on an absolute rant that don't trust other people, including me, frankly. Don't trust other people. Look at the abilities and figure out what's going to work for you, for your playstyle. Figure out what's going to work for the kind of character and kind of game that you want to play, and adapt accordingly. If you think that a character is going to be good, but someone's online says it's not viable, tell them to get bent. Tell them to piss off and play, and then play the character how you want to. That's how you get this dark horse. Because guess what happens when nobody plays Geist? Nobody knows how to counter Geist. Guess what happens when people haven't seen Geist for a while? They don't know how to deal with a Geist on the enemy team. They fall apart because they're not used to it. And it doesn't even matter if it's buffed or not. Even unbuffed, it can be very effective. Specifically on Geist, though, make sure you can land a Soul Exchange when you need to. Just make sure you can find something that you can Soul Exchange.
Not everyone can handle the weight
Now,
of being the best fighter on God's
Lash is the best fighter in the game. We know this, he knows this, and he won't stop telling you. Lash is a character that I really enjoy, and I strongly lament that I can't play him anymore. It brings me sorrow that Lash is no longer a character that I can play. Because my Lash build is based on melee charge. It's based on life strike. My Lash build is based on this idea of, you know, coming in hot for a lot of damage.
They're about to learn that they'll start running.
Coming in, bam, bam. And I simply can't do that anymore because I'm at a skill level that I can't do a melee attack without it being parried. And this brings me pain and sorrow because I really enjoy Lash.
Having fun yet?
Also, again,
Dropping in.
wall jumps. Learn them.
You want to mess with me?
It's good. You should be learning that.
Let's go.
Sometimes you don't have a
Let's
grapple
dance,
target.
buddy.
I'm good with Lash. He's a great ganker. He's fun to play.
Oh,
And it's lamentable to me that the melee Lash is no longer really a thing that I can do. So what should I do instead? Focus entirely on Spirit. You go improve burst anyways. Go surge of power anyways. Rapid recharge, I don't always get it, but it's decent. But like, do I go into Torment Pulse? Do I just get improved Spirit, Boundless Spirit, and say screw it, heck the police, let's go? I don't know. I'm not even memeing. I genuinely do not know.
you're not gonna regret that. I'm about to ruin your day.
One thing I will say with Lash that I don't see a lot of people recognizing is that you can
Run.
double jump after grappling. That's the difference between a good Lash and a bad one, is the fact that you can
Here I
grapple,
come.
double jump again, and then even wall jump off that. You see what I'm saying? It's good. Recognize that? It's good.
You want to mess with the Lash?
Always get an extra charge on grapple, though. You will not regret
Here
it.
comes the Lash.
And take your time in the air. Do you see how I positioned that? Jumped up. I was out of stamina that time. Let's just get this
Stay
thing.
2 steps ahead of death, my
Mo-
friend.
I'm not saying to buy this thing on him, although honestly it's not a bad idea. I'm just grabbing this so I can get the stamina back so I can highlight the action better. Jump,
I'm coming, baby.
jump up, and bam. Take your time in the air,
Here I come.
bam. Find your target and land on it. Do it good. Watch your aerial movement is bananas. And you need to be paying attention to that aerial movement and making use of it. And again, wall jumps.
Let's go. I can do this all day.
Now, did you see that? Let me get rid of this, actually.
I got money
One
to
double
burn.
jump. Jump, double jump, grapple, double jump. Grapple restores your double jump. Jump, wall bounce. No, okay, fine. Jump, wall bounce, double jump,
I'm about
grapple,
to ruin
triple
your
jump,
day.
land. Because your damage is based off your height and your distance traveled, make sure you have it. Also, learn the rooftops in the main map. Like, learn them. just do it. Okay? Yeah. Learn which rooftops lead to where, which ones you take damage from, which ones you're okay taking damage from, because it's honestly not that much, and learn where you're able to find paths back and find paths in. Aside from the general, I am begging you to learn how to dash jump. learning it is real good to learn how to manage rooftops with Lash. All right. Also, watch the same as I've said before. Watch the mini map. Now we have a completely different type of hero. McGinnis has a really interesting dash composition. Look at this dash here. That's a 12-meter dash, isn't it? That's... What was it for... I don't know. Infernus? Not quite as much. Right? Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about that.
This should be fun.
Is it actually a better dash or no? Yeah, it is. Her dash goes farther. See? Trade-off being that she has two of them, markedly worse. Get the stamina. You don't always need the stamina, but sometimes you do. Hero that requires map knowledge. I mean, I would argue that all heroes require it to some extent. But yeah. So her gun can unload. But again, last hits and denies. That's the name of the game. If you only do single targets, unlike Bebop's gun, you can still land the target. And you have 60 last hits and denies potential before you need a single reload. You are safer under your tower than you are anywhere else. Now, this isn't League. Your tower isn't going to protect you. You have to protect your tower. This is a truth that I will keep on saying. You have to protect your tower. Your tower does not protect you. But in the early game, look at that coverage. But in the early game, don't push out unless you have a plan. If you can just get the last hit, you want the enemy creeps to be alive for as long as possible. The longer an enemy creep is alive, the more damage it's doing to yours. The more damage it's doing to your creeps, the farther forward the enemies push. The farther forward the enemies push, the more you are underneath your own tower. The more you are underneath your own tower, ... pause for dramatic effect, the safer you are. If you are dropping down your mini turrets on starting at level 1 and never letting off of that button, you better have a plan for when Haze comes and ganks you from behind. You better have a plan for when the enemy team decides that they're not going to be putting up with you anymore. You better have a plan for when your 2 dashes run out and you don't have anywhere safe to run to. Unless you're going to try to push the tower early, i.e. you have a teammate with you who is trying to push as well. Just don't! Just don't! Wait under your tower! Melee to kill creeps to guarantee that your opponent can't last hit them. And just sit back and let the gold come in. Until the 15-minute mark, you're probably not pushing that tower anyways. Remember what I said before about heroes? If you can't get a kill, then all the damage you put onto that hero is useless. The same is not true of towers, because damage on towers does persist, but you don't actually care, because you'll get the tower eventually. Once you're out of the laning phase and the enemy is more grouping together and you have open lanes, just find a lane that doesn't have an enemy in it and make them regret that. You see what I'm saying? Besides, also your barrage, don't barrage when enemies are around. Isn't being pushed in not great because it's a gun game, so enemies can harass at most ranges? Yes and no, and mostly no. Like, yes, technically that is true. However, there's better cover. There's better defensive cover the closer to your tower that you are. So you are not incorrect in that you know. You are correct, but there is better cover closer to your tower in every single lane. And the farther you push out, the less cover there is. Less good cover there is, at least. So, like, you're not wrong. You genuinely are correct. Well, at the same time, I don't know that being correct about that is meaningful. I'm sorry. I don't mean that in a mean way. I really don't. I mean that in as kind a way as I can muster. Like, you are correct, but you're still safer here than you are here. Or here. Now, obviously, this isn't an in-game lane, but you get the principle, right? Like, I'm not as safe here as I am over there. You get it. You understand what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Okay, cool. Honestly, I would get this as your first item instead of mini turret. I don't think you need the mini turret. Obviously, you want to build your character around the mini turret. It's her best ability, and you want to make the mini turret as good as possible. But like I said with Infernus, you have a really good gun for last hitting and denying. Don't lie on the trigger. Just don't just like fall asleep leaning on the trigger and just go. Because it doesn't matter. Also, your ult. I can't get last hits off this. I can't secure souls off this. If I use this on a creep wave and there's an enemy around, they get every single soul out of it. I cannot count the number of times I have seen a McGinnis ult on a creep wave and I've just been like, okay, that's 12 denies. That's a full item's worth of denies for free. Yeah, it was nerfed this week, but like, I will also say this though, Mystic Slow. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. Turret that applies 25% movement slow. That's pretty good, right? What if it applied 40% movement slow and a 40% fire rate slow? Turrets prioritize shooting enemy heroes, right? Hear me out. What if putting down a turret in the middle of a team fight doesn't just add a few ticks of damage, but it also makes one of the enemy heroes minus 40% DPS? Hear me out. Turrets are good. Get more of them. Hear me out. You have Mystic Slow already. You have a goal in mind. Your goal is to push turrets. Is to push lanes, right? Your goal is to push lanes. Get an Alch Fire. There's a lot of heroes who can do well with Alchemist Fire. It's a really, really good item. And like Mystic Slow, it's slept on. Hey look, a wave of creeps. Like, once you get a couple of items, one Alch Fire can clear a wave of creeps. I should probably just get a few items to point that. Mystic Vulnerability and Escalating Exposure are also very good on her. I do think that Cold Front is slept on as well, because it can either clear a creep wave or assist in a team fight. It stacks with everything else. Auras are good. I like auras. This is my build in broad strokes. But I'm going to change it soon. I'm actually gonna swap out Kelvin for her and get better at her now because now's the time I want to. But yeah. Alch Fire is good. Alch Fire plus Mystic Slow. I've discussed it before. It's good.
Putting down a turret.
A turret is good. A turret that also slows enemies on strike in the middle of a team fight when you're just throwing these things all over the place. Each turret is hitting it with that slow. Having a field, again, this big that does DOT on enemies and slows them is extremely good. And then Heroic Aura just gives minions fire rate, and if you're pushing lanes, which is your primary job, this makes you push lanes harder. What's not to love about it, right? And yeah, you can go to Teslas if you want, because it's a 25% chance to deal extra damage, and
Today you're making history.
that damage is spirit damage. See that slow proc? Do you see that slow proc? Again, now I'm no longer limited by range for Mystic Slow. Every time that procs, there's 2 seconds of them being, wrecked. That's 2 seconds of major debuff. that doesn't require me to be up close, because all of her other abilities that do that require you to be within fairly close range. I guess not this one. It's not necessary. You don't need it. It's just something that I think is overlooked as an option, you know? If you don't need alchemical fire, if you want to go for more of an offensive option, Teslas are good. They help you clear lanes faster and help you in a team fight. And match up with that Mystic Slow. I would say probably the Teslas or Alch Fire, depending on if you can spend the extra money on Teslas. Or actually, wait, it's the same? Is it the same? They're both 3k items, right? Yeah, they're both 3k. Depending on whether you want to push harder or whether you want to do more left-click damage. It's situational. Also, buy speed on every single hero. There's never an excuse not to. Don't touch the ground after a dash challenge. Oh, we need to wait for it to refill. Can they also Spirit Shred resist and Bullet Spirit Amp? Yeah, you can do that combo off them. Mm-hmm. If you want to go gun McGinnis, I think there's better heroes to do that with personally. But yeah, this just procs when you deal spirit damage. So every time that either the Elk Fire or the Tesla's proc, it'll reduce their spirit bullet resist. And again, that's for your entire team, right? It's a team game. Don't worry about your own stats. Worry about how well you can help the team. That's why I build so many auras.
My vows are not taken.
Mirage.
I fight on behalf of the team.
Hear me out. I tried this in a game and it was bananas. I went first item Ricochet. I went first item Ricochet and it was pretty fun and cool and good.
I am a man of action.
It lets you do crazy things on farming like this, where I'm not taking damage from large creep. You can do this kind of farming in around the area on top of the mid pit. It also makes you pretty bananas against... Sorry, it makes you pretty bananas against team fights. In a team fight, you don't even need to hit the target. If a target's running behind a tower, you don't even need to chase them behind the tower. That was with no items, by the way. No items other than Ricochet first. Other than... Okay, I will fully acknowledge that you probably want to get... I fully acknowledge that you almost certainly want to get extra regen in every single lane, no matter what. If I ever say first, I mean is the first big item. Get extra regen in the lane. Get extra regen in the lane. Get sprint boots if you need it. You know, get restorative locket if it's situational to you. If you need the restorative locket, get it. Restorative locket is underrated. It's amazingly good. But Ricochet first, kinda cracked. Not gonna lie. You don't have to. And if you're facing against one of these guys, reactive barrier procs off of Whirlwind. Any lift up counts as a reactive barrier movement lock and gives you 400 health and 200 spirit health. If your opponent's doing mixed damage, yeah, that is both types of health. That is 600. Keep in mind that Divine Scarabs only hit a target once. Like, they only hit a target once. Don't unload them on one target. It does nothing. And yeah, mini map awareness. Pay attention to the map and go places. You should always be looking at the map. If anybody is doing a 1v1 or a 2v2 anywhere on the map and you are playing Mirage, you should be a part of that. You should be on your way there. Mirage should have there's no reason for Mirage ever to not have double-digit assist count. Just anytime anyone is somewhere on the map, you have every 90 seconds, every minute and a half, you can just, oh hey, I'll help out. Always be there. Never not be there. No reason not to be there.
Don't mind the big
Mo and Krill is one of my main characters, and they're amazing. Ever since Sandblast got buffed, they are cracked. Majestic Leap comes first, always. I told you before on how to use Majestic Leap. It's 2 clicks, make sure you're using both of them. One goes up, one goes down. The down on Mo and Krill more than anyone else is important. I guess about the same as Dynamo, maybe. Because it's going up and going down. And you want to land on somebody's face to ult. Which means that you need to practice landing on somebody's face. And this is a really good way of doing it. I missed one. This right here is the good training style for Mo and Krill. I recommend doing this for 15-20 minutes. It will help you learn. Okay. It will help you learn how to get that drop down effectively. And you can see immediately how useful that is. If I am just going up in the air and waiting for myself to come down, okay. See how much longer that takes? Feel how much longer that takes. Yeah. Now feel this. Oh, dang it, I missed it. Okay, I wish this rail was disableable. Hey, buddy. Do you see that difference? Do you feel that difference? Do you love that difference? Do you like the video? I hope that you do all these things. Don't forget that you can use that ability in the middle of things. But yeah, if you want to play Mo and Krill, do this for half an hour. Preferably as a pregame warm-up. Because this is good. I mean, this is just how to play the character. It's such a short cooldown. It's 74 seconds. No, I'm just kidding. It's 50 seconds. It's 50 seconds. Like, come on. It's just amazing. Torment Pulse, Mystic Slow. I explained why I like that before. Point Blank is pretty good as well, especially because this damage becomes non-negligible. Sometimes I'm gonna have to change this because I'm not going off the melee charge anymore. Like I said, I've officially hit the skill bracket where I can't do that anymore. But like, he's on the good aura platform because you gain max health with every one of these, and strong argument for Siphon Bullets too, because you know what? You get kills, but not alone. You get kills if and when your teammates help you out with them. Right? Your teammates need to be around to help you get kills. So, good communication is always good. And... dang, missed that one. Gotcha. You guys, you see what I'm doing. You get what I'm doing. You understand how to train yourself in this. That's all it is. It's training. It's practice. It's finding that flow state where you can just... Gotcha. It's just getting used to that. You want to come from above? Cool. You can still use this. Like, seriously, if you're on a rooftop, okay? Also, you can do that, by the way. If you're on a rooftop, don't think that Majestic Leap isn't here for you. Don't think you don't need to use that. Because watch this. Okay, okay. Now, watch this. That drop down is so good. It gets you where you need. The drop down gets you into the enemy fast, which is what you need because you need to get there before they can react. Get that. It's good.
You have a good eye.
I like Torment Pulse, Mystic Slow. It's less important. Like some of the characters I've talked about with Mystic Slow, it's core to how you build it. I would never play McGinnis or 7 without getting Mystic Slow. I just simply wouldn't. It goes against my concept of how to play a video game. That said, on Mo and Krill, it's just an option. You do not need it. You know, you might be better off with Inhibitor, frankly. Torment Pulse can be optional. I like it, but you don't have. But like, there's a lot of ways you can build it. I'm gonna get rid of all of my melee options in here, and I'm going to cry the entire time that I do so because I like that style. But yeah. Get on them. Every time that you do that, you win a fight. Can't you fast fall? Probably. Like, if you mean that.
I'm sure there's something worth spending our money on.
You can't do it off of here, though. Hold on, let me get vertical enough. Because it's just true to just be double pit tap crouch. Like, you can, but it's just a dash. And it even uses a dash. It's a dash downwards. Fast fall isn't a fast fall. It's a down dash. You do it by double tapping crouch, by the way, if you need the inputs on it. But it's just that. It's one dash down, and it's not as much... Here, I'll do it off the same test I did before. So you can, yes. But it's not as good, is the short version of it. So if I'm up here and I'm going down on them, that's it. As opposed to this, which gives you a speed boost the entire way down. So you can, yeah, it's way worse. It's way worse than using the fast fall off of leap. The drop down on leap is dash speed the entire way down, as opposed to a single dash motion down. You're right that you can. You're absolutely right. It's just not the same thing. Also, the shotguns. Mo has one of the best shotguns in the game. Mo has a shotgun that doesn't have fall off, that doesn't have bad fall off. Meaning that it's extremely good for getting these denies and last hits. So you should be getting pretty good farm early game with Mo. Because you don't even need to aim that well. This is, I would argue that this is probably what I would consider my main, honestly. So my opinions are vast and good. And they even have a special attack animation now for heavy strikes. It sucks that I can't use them. Lamentable. Move on to Paradox. Most shotguns have more aggressive falloff. Yeah, significantly. Like,
They don't know who they're dealing with. I'm gonna find them.
falloff range 22 to 46. Who else has a shotgun? Yeah, whatever. As opposed to Mo's, which has the same as every other hero at 22 to 58. And you can see even Paradox's rifle is 20 to 58. 20 to 58 is normal. Is normal. Is normal. That's right, Shiv is the shotgun I was trying to think of. 20 to 41. So the shortest one. And then Yamato's Yamato's is just not great in general. I don't like Yamato. Anyways. I wish that I liked Paradox. Pulse Grenade's good. Pulse Grenade's actually, like, legitimately, unironically amazing. Like, it's a long range. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It's good. It's incredibly long range. Time Wall is amazing in a team fight. It doesn't even need to be like a terribly effective team fight. It just works. The carbine is solid. Stopping somebody for a full second is excellent. I just don't like swap. The swap reminds me of Vengeful Spirit. And her Vengeful Spirit... It shouldn't... Okay, my one complaint. My one complaint about Paradox that ruins the entire thing for me is that swap should not be a skill shot. Swap should be a lock-on shot like every other similar ult. It's way too easy to press that button and miss and be out of your ult for 65 seconds. The fact that that's even possible is a tragedy. Carbine's nuts, but it's bonkers it's based off of weapon damage. I mean, it makes sense. It's a weapon shot. I think Carbine... I might go back to playing her. My biggest problem is that swap. The swap it should be a guaranteed shot. It shouldn't be a skill shot. If it was, I'd be happy. True, but swap is also really strong. Yeah! You know what else is really strong? Mo and Krill's ult that I just spent 20 minutes gushing over. Like, you're not wrong. But, like, you have to compare it to other things, right? Like, yeah, her ult is pretty powerful. So is Mo and Krill's. So is Dynamo's. So is, like, if we're talking, you know, crowd control, you know, Dynamo's is amazing. So is Lash's ult. I didn't even talk about his ult when I was playing it, you know, as him, but, like, that's another, you know, auto-target one. Like, Shiv's is auto-target. Vindicta's is not auto-target, but it makes sense for hers not to be auto-target because it's the assassination bullet, right? It's supposed to be like that. This feels so much like it's supposed to be an actual attack. And it's just not. I don't know. I do like her. I don't really have too much to say about her other than build for stuff and play with her well. Like, I kind of covered a lot of what I would say. My biggest thing with her is a complaint, and I lament that my biggest thing with her is a complaint because, like, it's the professor's student, and I love the professor. But I could probably learn to play her better. I do think that her as a gun build is good, but I also personally don't like burst fire guns as much as I like single shots, so I don't know. I have a few personal blocks stopping me from playing her. So, I mean, if you enjoy her, by all means. I'm not going to be any good at her.
This isn't about revenge.
This is Puck. This is Puck from Dota. You can commit crimes with this hero. It's good. Like, Barrage is... yeah, it's alright. It's long range and it's decent damage. It's fine. It's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. But, like, you can send that out and go in here and then come out here. You can send... Like, Affliction just removes people from team fights. And how do you get Affliction on people? Easy.
Bet they weren't planning.
You send this out.
No.
Like,
Time to be no more games.
boom. And send yourself out.
They won't expect this. But life will dwindle away.
This is the cooldown thing. Like, don't be afraid to use this defensively. See what I'm saying? Like, people... I've seen a lot of people... And again, this is the complaints I have about other people. Oh, yeah, that's a shotgun, too. 18 to 46. So again, Mo and Krill has the longest range shotgun. The biggest thing I've seen is people throwing out the cloak just as an attack or a harass, and maybe teleporting in to hit somebody.
I'll outthink them.
Yeah, maybe they'll hit that.
This case isn't running out of ghosts anytime soon.
What I don't see people doing is going in too deep and then not being punished for it. And all but certain that's going to be the difference between good paradoxes and bad pockets. Because right here, I do damage with that. I shoot him a few times, and then I am out of there. I am so far out of there, he can never catch up to me. This is what I would like to see more pockets on my team do. You know? Come in from the flank, harass, get the affliction on, send that out, and then evac. I think that's what's going to set the good Paradox apart. If you want to see how to play Paradox, go watch Dota International this year and watch, I think it was Thompson. Did Thompson get Puck this? And go watch some Puck gameplay. Watch what Puck does and be amazed. Because that's what Pocket will be doing at high-level gameplay. And it is going to be a game changer once the general play base is good enough to do that. That looks like a graphical bug.
Not today.
Huh, weird, it's still sticking out. But yeah, go watch some Puck gameplay because you can do some crazy bananas combos.
I don't remember New York was so dangerous.
That is not a combo, that does not work. Okay. Everyone knows what 7 does. Everybody knows 7. And yet, for some reason... that I cannot understand, I still don't see people getting Mystic Slow on him. I don't get it. I explained before why it's so good. I do not understand why anybody would not get Mystic Slow on 7. It does everything you want it to do. You hit ult? Well, good. Now enemies in your ult have minus 30% movement slow to try to escape it. You hit them with a lightning ball with a 40% movement slow? Cool, now it's 70. Now that's not just 40%. Now you are 70% slow. This chain power surge ability, which just gives you spirit damage on your attacks. Hey, guess what that means? It means you can apply Mystic Slow at farther range. Like, it's good. Why wouldn't you get it? Why would you ever not get it? It was just, like, the best item on him, and yet I keep on seeing people not getting it. Like, yeah, Escalating Exposure is amazing. I think Inhibitor is underrated on him. I think that Tesla Bullets are just, you know, it just makes sense in my brain mind, is because you want to push. I will say this, though. Infuser, real good.
You have a good eye.
You'll want to sell it later on because it doesn't build anything to it and it's not going to scale well. But early game, Infuser into a ball. Just early game, Infuser into an orb. The difference that 16 Spirit Power makes early game, I mean, let's just take a look at it. Right now we have only one thing skilled. We have 2 points in Lightning Ball. I'm not even going to get the 70 DPS one. Would you have just 2 points in Lightning Ball? The only other things I would get early game would be Mystic Reach, extra regen, sprint boots. That's it. 1 ball, point blank. 414 damage. $447 damage. That's a significant difference in the early game, plus you're healing for 20% of that. So you're healing for about 100 health off of that. Now, admittedly, that's a perfect situation, but it's a situation that will be even more relevant once you get that extra lightning ball. Once you're doing it against towers and healing off of it, it's good. And then, yeah, again, you're going to sell it. Especially on 7, the things that you can buy in the Spirit column, they're going to outclass that fairly quick, right? It's going to get better. But for $500 money early game, That also comes with an extra 50 health to survive off of. Come on, buy it. It's good. Mystic Slow. It does everything 7 wants to do. Escalating exposure. Obviously, it's one of the best items on 7. I don't need to explain that. I think that Curse is also real good. It's disable target character. You know, just target character does not no longer. And then buy armors. 7. Like, yeah, you can buy Diviner's Kevlar. 700 bullet shield, 700 spirit shield, plus 40 spirit power when you ult. Yeah, of course, you want that. It's good. It's not as good as escalating, I don't think, but it's good. But the improved spirit armor is going to last all game. The improved bullet armor is going to last against every engagement, including creeps. Look at what your opponents have, whether they do more spirit or bullet damage. Pick whichever one you need. Get the spirit life steal too. And then survive. Step 1, don't die. Step 1, do not die. You will have an influx of money because of how good you can push. So, like, money is not going to be a problem for you late game. Once you start pushing creeps, you're going to be pushing all day long. Honestly, Shiv is one of the characters I have the least amount of experience with. I don't really have a lot of good advice on Shiv, unfortunately. What I can say is that, get good at accuracy, you know? Your killing blow is good, but make sure you don't put yourself out of position on it. Watch your rage. I love that the visual effect has been updated on it. Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of advice on him, frankly. Other than everything I've said before. Look at your mini-map. Like I said with Mirage, you should always be trying to find kills that you can be a part of. I covered most of what I wanted to say about Vindicta when I was talking about Grey Talon. Like... You got the double jump. She has the same kind of dash that... Yeah, she has a similar dash to McGinnis, which means that getting the stamina can be very helpful for her, so that she can actually make more things. Flight is exactly the same thing. It's going to be very important to have a close cover. You need cover. You need cover. Shoot people out of the air. If you have an enemy with both Grey Talon and Vindicta, buy the sharpshooter and snipe them out of the air, because most of them are not paying attention and just flying out in the open. Punish them. Make them sad about it.
It's easier every time. Engaging. So long.
Yeah, I covered pretty much everything. With all the other characters. Binding thing. The opposite of kudzu. Don't use it in a hole. Use it where they can't. Yeah, so they can't get behind something. Use it out in the open. Is she more of a spirit character or a gun character? I would argue that she is a gun character. Though you could very easily argue the opposite. Flight does give you spirit damage, but it doesn't give you very much. 24 spirit damage base per bullet is not that much. But then again, you have Crow, which does some... Assassinate is the big spirit one, but if you're using Assassinate, they're probably low enough health that you're going to kill them anyways. I would argue that damage output-wise, you're going to get more out of... you're going to get... Yeah, I'm sorry. You're going to get more out of her on the bullet side. Though, that can change. Also, keep in mind, Pristine Emblem does give spirit power as well. And Pristine Emblem gives bullet velocity, which is how fast the bullet flies through the air. Which, the farther you are, the more effective that is. Yeah, Vindicta's good.
Most of my kind find legs to be unnerving, but I rather enjoy them.
as far as the Goopy Boy is a good boy.
Life is simpler in the cube.
Make sure that you cube people in safe places. It can be very easy to cube somebody and then have the enemy just like wait around for them to pop out of it. It's like, oh, okay. Make sure that your ally is behind cover when they cube. If they're on low health, save them. But if they're just, need some support, cube them up in a safe place. Make sure it's safe. Now,
Slow them down.
Puddle Punch does melee. Is considered a melee attack. Puddle Punch does melee damage. So even though I'm at the tier where all these attacks are our melees are not working so well, this is a character where melee will work well at any point because you're building it for Puddle Punch and probably getting rapid recharge on top of it. Also, 20% melee damage off Colossus is good on Puddle. Do not buy it for other melee heroes. 20% melee damage. If you're buying this for the melee damage, you are wrong. Because the melee damage on any other hero, get any other tier 4 weapon, and you have plus 18% weapon damage is melee damage. Your fists are a weapon. Just like Lash keeps on telling you. If you want to get more damage out of your fists, pick up Frenzy. Pick up Crippling Headshot. Pick up anything in here. Grab Vampiric Burst. Why not? If you want Colossus, you want it because of Colossus, and the 40% bullet resist and spirit resist is good, but it comes with a penalty that is the opposite of what you want as a melee character. You don't want that movement slow, and on most characters that want to use melee. If you want to use melee, you don't want a movement slow. You just don't. So, while Colossus is a good item and can be used effectively, especially on an aura platform like Abrams, I've seen people buy it for the melee damage on characters where that doesn't help them. Whereas conversely, the weapon damage would help more. Again, this guy gives you 18% weapon damage and 20% weapon damage. This gives you more weapon damage. This gives you almost double the weapon damage, the melee damage. If you want to buy Colossus for the health, do it. If you want to buy Colossus for the resistances, do it. Outside of Viscous, don't buy Colossus for the melee damage. 20% weapon damage, 20% melee damage, awesome. You can get that off of crippling, you can get that off of crippling headshot, while also getting bullet lifesteal, spirit lifesteal, and these headshot buffs. It's not bad. It's just not what you're looking for in most cases. Now that said, Viscous wants the health. Viscous wants the melee and weapon damage for Puddle Punch. Viscous wants to be bulky and survivable.
I like having a body.
And ball time is a good time. So I think that this is one of the few characters where that you have a really strong argument for doing that.
Humanity.
I build Gun Warden. What do you think is a better weapon for when not sniping? Who has a better weapon for when not sniping between Talon and Vindicta? I'm torn, honestly. I think that Talon's is more versatile because the spread shot can be used to clear creep waves and do consistent heavy damage to walkers, whereas Vindicta is more laser focused on taking down heroes. So I think that Grey Talon is more versatile overall, and as a result, I would favor Grey Talon. But I mean that's pretty minor, right? Headhunter, Sharpshooter, Pristine Emblem, Burstfire. This is how I build my Warden. I build Gun Warden. Get some armor in there, grab some magazine, slowing bullets are pretty good. Quicksilver on the Elk Flask.
I love it.
And do you do the thing that Vindicta does, except with double her health pool. This is a surprisingly effective build. This is a dangerously effective build. You get these headshots on them, you outfire there, and Binding Word is a defensive tool.
You have no place to go.
If you land a Binding... If someone comes in on you, you land a Binding Word on them. The reason that Headshot Booster is so good on him, Headhunter is so good on him, is because if you land one of these, you have free headshots. You have, like... You have 2.75 second immobilization, which gives you a headhunter strike, and almost enough to set up another headhunter strike if you have some other debuff at play. Gun Warden good. His abilities are cool. They're fine. They're whatever. I recommend maxing out willpower early on because the spirit shield scaling with spirit power, even with no spirit items, like no spirit items, okay?
I need to push myself.
150 as expected.
You'll never kill me.
400. No spirit items. Just putting 3 points into it. So, you know, well, just putting max ranks into it
I will endure.
is double effect. It's now 379. Now, I don't really buy spirit items on him because why would I? But like 429 with just Quicksilver Reload? Are you kidding me? It's amazing. Withering Whip, good. Slowing Hex can also be good to stop the enemy from escaping, but or Cold Front if you want to do more of the team fight style of
Go
it.
out there and impose your will.
But like, yeah.
I won't yield.
Also, Cold Front will combo with Elk Flask for the slows. So 20% movement speed slow plus the 40% movement speed slow. It's good. It's just like good or whatever. Okay. It also gives you more creep push, as you can see here. Combine that with Elk Flask, and you can wipe out creep waves quickly. And like, come on, it's only $12.50. It's not that expensive, you know. This makes you very effective at any range. At close range, okay, you have Cold Burst, you have the Flask, you have this thing, and that's not even counting your ult. At long range, well, at long range you have Headhunter and you have these incoming attacks. Realistically, you'll have a couple of flex slots in here. And you can get, you should have slowing bullets for the early game so that to slow them down so you can land the attacks. I really, really like this Gun Warden build because it does everything that it's effective at every range. This Warden build is effective no matter where you are on the map. He looks like a Dunwall Tower guard from Dishonored. He 100% does. He really does. I think I don't mind it. I mean, I hope they clean it up, add a little more detail to it. But yeah, it's. Is there a Spirit Warden build there? Yeah, there is. It's focusing on your ult. It's focusing on going the. Where is it? Yeah, Majestic Leap into Mystic Slow to keep them inside of your ult with your Flask, then getting increased reach, Torment Pulse, and Diviner's Kevlar. That's the general idea of the Spirit Warden build. It's not bad. I don't like it though. I feel he's not as good an initiator as Mo and Krill or the Professor or anybody else who can realistically be considered an initiator. He's not as good an initiator as Infernus, for goodness sake. So I found a lot of success in the Gun Warden build. But you can run Spirit Warden, and maybe there's going to be some games you find where that is the right choice, you know? Change your build on every situation.
I don't appreciate the news labeling some of my services as rags. Who wouldn't love being protected by me?
What to say about Wraith? Like, you know how she works. Oh yeah, I guess the one thing I can say about Wraith is don't card trick too early. It's very tempting to open up a battle engagement by coming around a corner and going, enemy! Whoosh! But I don't recommend not doing that because you quicksilver reload. You don't want to reload, you know? You want to be fighting through your reloads. Obviously, get rapid recharge. It's kind of core on her. But, like, if you open the engagement by coming around a corner with a card, then you better kill them on that one clip, because 1-1000, 2-1000 will leave you dead before you have a chance. Conversely, if you grab slowing bullets, if they had a necromancer, I'll show you something in a bit. But if you come around the corner shooting with slowing bullets, and as they try to escape, you hit them with the card and reload and keep on hammering on them, and then hit them with another card, that's a lot more effective, right? Like, don't open up with a card unless right away, because as soon as I pull off with no cooldown.
Find them.
Oh, I guess they did increase the speed of that. Okay, well, I haven't been playing as much of her lately. I should play more. Maybe you do want that. I don't know. But, like, then you're running on the Quicksilver reload cooldown, which is 12 seconds. I think that you should fire off your clip first, and then card. Wait, that didn't work. I think you should fire off your clip first, and then card for the burst damage as you're going through it. But save your first card for a reload thing, unless you want to save it for full auto. But because this is Quicksilver is a 12-second cooldown, and this is a 33, I think you'd rather have it on card trick than on full auto. Because that you can just do it more often. I could be wrong about this. I don't play a lot of her, so this is just speculation on my part. I do know that card trick is projection is very good. I tended to save it more for reaction than action. Okay. Yamato needs another buff cycle. She's already gotten one. Shadow Transformation makes you invincible, makes you immortal. You can't die until it wears off, which makes it a lot better. You're invincible during the transformation. But the thing is, it takes 2 seconds for Shadow Form to activate, and it still only lasts, 4 seconds. So if your opponent's running away, if you're running away and you want to chase them, 1-1000, 2-1000, they're gone. They're gone. It's actually longer than that because you have to take a few seconds afterwards to come out of it. If they get behind a wall, you can't use that. It don't work no more. Yamato, she can be sick. This ability is very good. If I was going to rework her, I would make Crimson Slash a slower cooldown, but I would make Shadow Power Slash automatically fully charge if you have Shadow Transformation completed. This should be instantaneous. Like, instead of being, faster, I would make it instantaneous. Okay, we have a few more heroes to go through. What? What, Jade, there's no more heroes left. Yeah, well, there is, though. This is Holiday. Yeah, that's right. I'm showing you guys stuff that's not released yet. Yeah, that's right. We're going into Holiday build, alright? Yeah, new hero, not released. Might be available on Tuesday, who knows? She has 2 dashes, which means she has that rolling dash that comes out a little bit faster. Look. She has a really good gun. She has the best named gun in the entire game. It's called the Occult 45! How cool is that? It's called the Occult 45! I love it. it's so cool. Look, okay, it's an occult 45. So you send out barrels. You can shoot barrels to blow them up. It's completely goated, 100%.
Setting a barrel.
Send out a barrel. Kaboom.
It's gonna blow.
And it will bounce the enemies. And yes, it will not work on trigger. So if you run it behind them, if you're good at the game, oh, it's shooting the enemy.
Setting dynamite.
You can reposition them slightly. You also can place your own jump panels.
Setting up a bounce pad.
Now, rapid recharge is critical on her because she has 2 charged abilities. Bounce pads coming in on 1 charge and never actually improving, and powder keg, which comes in at a native 3 charges. But powder keg also being very good. You want to have that on this 4 second, and it's as many of these as you can because you can also clear waves with it. Is a good versatile item. And bounce pads are good. Hey, guess what?
You got expensive taste.
Now I have 3 bounce pads. Now I can just go
Time to do what I do
kaboink,
best. Ready to
kaboink,
get some
just
airtime.
keep on going. Hey, oh yeah, you also, when she lands on a bounce pad, she makes an AoE with explosion. Allies do, and enemies can use your bounce pad. Enemies can use your bounce pad. They won't get the damage boost. Does she have anything that sets apart from other cowboy characters? Oh yeah, she does. I'll get to that in a second. First, next up though, hat gives true sight. You have true sight for several seconds off that hat. Are you kidding me? Hat, true sight. And as I do believe that is party true sight. Like, everyone on your party can see them no matter where they go. It's extremely good. Now, what sets her apart? Buddy. Let me tell you about Bat Rider. Hey, buddy.
Got him roped
We're going
up.
on an adventure.
Bounce pads down. I got something for ya.
Yeah, that's right. You can just lasso them and take them with you. You can just grab them, say, "Hi, buddy. We're going on an adventure. You're my friend now. You're coming with me."
Someone shoot him already. Ready to move.
Look at how far I can drag them. You isolate an enemy and bring them to your party. Everyone loves a good abduction character, 100%. It's really strong. Like, this is what sets her apart. Imagine them dragging them through Ivy's Thorns. I don't know if that works. I mean, I can check. Hold on. Will they take alk fire damage while they're being dragged?
You want to buy a mug to go with your gun?
You can't hold him for long.
Yep, it will work. So you can then drive them into. If it works on elk, then it'll work on anything else. So yeah, you can drag them into Ivy's AoE. You can drag them into an alchemical fire. You can just hold them in the middle of a 7 ult. Like just hold them in the middle of a 7 ult and be like, no, you're not going anywhere. You are mine for a solid 3 seconds. Just sit down, stay here. Don't worry about it. It's good. She's good. I'm looking forward to her releasing.
It's gonna blow.
I think the barrels are a little bit jank, but I think that they're good.
Dynamite.
And
Go big or go home.
these are going to have a lot of play. Also, you can combo these.
Time to go flying.
You can send a barrel out like that.
Bounce pads down. Setting a barrel. Barrels out.
It seems more like a gimmick, but you can do it. it might be useful in some situations when, like, you know, if you like see an enemy walker or something. It's like, you know what? Okay, there's a walker over there.
Throwing a barrel.
Just send this into it. You know.
Comes the barrel.
I don't know. It's a thing that you can do either way. All right, is that all the heroes? Of course it's not. I've got you. We have Calico. Look at her. She's beautiful. And she's got a kitty. Yes, this I will. You're absolutely right, and I should clarify that more. I should make that more obvious to everybody. You're absolutely right. These are unreleased heroes, and anything they show for balance patches is not complete and is subject to change. That is absolutely true. Calico is good. She has a regular shot here. Her secondary, so okay, look, she does have I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it, okay? There, I did it. Are you happy? Make sure you put your hate comments, your hate and hatred in the comments, okay? But regular attack chews up pretty well. Secondary attack is vertical and does double the damage at half the attack speed, which is actually very good because it is it's actually very relevant for her because it is the same ammo count. So what are her abilities? Kitty.
It's a waste of time.
You can send someone into over there. Also, jump on people. The jump ability. It slows the enemy. It reloads. It gives you a fire rate slow. It does extra damage. It counts as a light melee attack, but it cannot be parried. And it's good. It's just good. It has charges. Probably not worth activating the charges.
There's nowhere to run.
And the range is based on maybe no cooldown. The range, as you can saw right there, is based on when you cast it. So you get in the middle of a fight. No. You get in the middle of a fight, send them away. Why didn't I have my come off cooldown yet? Get into a fight, send them away, and jump on them, and chase them. And then your 3 ability makes you invisible during jumps. Also stamina, also slow resist, which is relevant. And not to put too fine a point on it, heavy attacks causes silence. Now, again, the problem here is, can you land a heavy attack off that? Well, you might be able to, because your melee attack speed is plus 20%. But again, there are levels of play where you will just be parried nonstop, which is where Shadow Step comes in. Your opponent might not be able. Let me grab the charge. If you do this, your opponent might not parry that. They might not see the timing for the parry. All right, so what's her ult? Her ult, it's a big kitty. The Bimu eyes do DOT. It can stay up basically forever. 60 seconds. It goes for a full minute. And it can be shot and killed, but if it's not, then the cooldown is instantaneous. You can send it out, get some damage in on it, and then pull it back out. I think it's amazing. I don't really see that it fits with her kit. But it's very good in general. Especially if you can point it somewhere well good. Hey look, I don't want the enemy to just shoot it down, so I'm going to place it here.
Want to meet my friends?
you can already see the application for this, right? Like, you guys are smart. You get it. You put the cat down here,
Preparing security measures.
and then you say, "Hey, buddy, let's go on an adventure." Something like that. Preferably in a place where the cat can stay attacking it, but you know what I mean. Honestly, it's just a good utility. It's just a good utility ult. It's a turret that you can put down and pick up. It's got 500 health, which scales. So if you go, I don't know, but let's say you get Boundless Spirit. Now it has 700 health and does 74 DPS. Would I go Boundless Spirit on here? Probably not. She's a melee character, so I might not be. But then again, the cat, everything, all of her abilities are so, this is doing a lot more. Maybe that's worth it. I don't know. No one's played her yet. No one's played a competitive game with her yet. I think she's good. I think she has a strong kit. I think she's a good ganker. I think she might be a surprisingly good lane defender. An anti-aggro character with the...
Go have fun, darling.
You can see the combo. You can see how someone dies for this, right? Like, it's not even that hard to see. There's a lot of utility and a lot of mobility and a lot of really cool things to do. I think she's good. Okay, Jade, you showed us 2 extra characters that aren't even in the game yet. Surely you don't have any more. That's gotta be it, right? Of course it's not it. Of course I'm spoiling you guys. We have more heroes. We have more characters here. Look at this. Look at this goober in this placeholder art. So Wrecker has a simple gun. It does simple things, and honestly, it's kind of comical in how basic the gun is. I mean, it looks cool as hell, but I mean, the effectiveness. So what does Wrecker do? What's his jazz jam?
Slay them and grow strong.
Well, first of all... Okay. Wait, actually hit it. Oh. So first of all, Wrecker has a wrecking ball. I actually don't think it's great. You set up a big old ball that bounces around with physics. What the? I didn't hit physics. Physics for me, please. There we go. It hits people and it will jostle them around. It takes a few seconds to charge up, in which you can throw it early. And it does decent damage. The important thing is, it stuns. It's a 21-second cooldown for what is genuinely a 1/1000 stun. A full 1 second stun. That's outstanding, right? That's the best stun in the game. Like, hold on.
Try and stop me. See what happens.
It's the same stun as Abrams' ult. 1 second stun duration on Abrams' ult that does not scale with level. That's it. That's 155 damage, 1 second stun. Wrecker, 85 damage, 1 second stun, 13.5 second cooldown. About the same wind-up time, too. An interesting thing that he has that no one else has is a creep consume. Grab a creep, eat them. Restore 150 health. This is the first ability you're going to want to get because, like, it does not claim the soul for you. It's worth noting. But, like, that's the first ability you're going to want to get. It's going to give you good lane survival for a character that does not have a very high base health. So, use this. It also gives you a fire rate bonus and a DPS bonus for 40 seconds, eventually 80 seconds, so I think it's probably the last thing you want to upgrade, honestly. But grab an enemy, eat them. Now, the DPS, again, is to the target. So, like, we're talking about this DPS. So it's not going to be something you can farm creep camps off the top. But if you are farming creep camps, and you have one at low health, look at that heal. This is with very low abilities and no items. So, like, it's pretty good. It does nothing against heroes, though. Absolutely nothing. His third ability is an AoE slow that does some damage. That's all. It does hit slow based on how many enemies you hit. So if you hit an entire creep wave, it slows the enemies a lot more. Pretty cool. Astral Walk lets you in here, and then you do a explosion when you land. And you can scout with this. You can... What the... You can look around with this. If you hit a wall, it does cancel, but, like... This can be a scouting ability. You can just be like, oh, who's over here? Cool. Use this if you see a team fight or a gank that you want to be a part of. With 2 points in it, it's got a minute and a half cooldown, which is nothing. And you can be in the air for 16 seconds, which is forever. It's good. If you see a fight in the next lane over, you push the button, go to the next lane over, and say, hey, I want to be a part of this. Eat a stun. Eat a slow. It's pretty good. It's like Grey Talon's ult, but you move with it. Exactly, yeah. It's basically Grey Talon's ult, except you go with it. And then you use Bioblast as soon as you land. And then you use Wrecking Ball to stun somebody on the back half of it. Definitely sci-fi themed. I mean, could be. I really like the 1950s. By the way, I can pinpoint down to the day that this game takes place. True story. Or at least to the week. I get to the week. This game takes place on the week of April 9th in 1949. With precision, with confidence. Because one of the dialogue lines from the newsstand in the game talks about Roger and Hammerstein's South Pacific came out last week. Well, it came out last week. It was launched on April 7th, 1949, and that's the Broadway release, and they said it was released on Broadway, and this takes place in New York. So we know down to the week that this game takes place, which I think is really cool. Look, I'm a huge musical nerd. I am a theater kid. Don't say you're surprised by this. You have known in your heart since the moment you clicked on this, since the moment you clicked on me, that I'm a theater kid. Like, you intrinsically know that in somewhere inside of you, you know?
I give you a boon.
So, because of this ability to get into the middle of a team fight, I mean, I'm going to be tempted to do the same aura build that I did with other characters, you know? I'm going to be tempted to go into this Mystic Slow Torment Pulse Cold Front. Because, like...
Ah, you have discerning taste.
Like, it just makes sense to me. Grab close quarters, because this guy wants to be a lot more shooty. Maybe Alkfire if you're in the mood, but you don't really need it so much. Like, I think that this is probably going to be my build. I don't know if it's going to be good, though. Because you can just go, bam, bam. And you are now disrupting an entire team fight. Hopefully you're hitting 3 or 4 people with that. Unlike the other characters I do this with, I probably will do something a lot more gun-focused with him, because it's a good gun. But they default to long range, and I don't think that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me, that's for sure. I think that going for Hunter's Aura, it makes more sense to me. but I like that combination of builds anyways. You've seen me recommend that on multiple heroes. Well, this hero is another one that I would take it on, but maybe. I don't know. The character's not out yet and it has to do a lot more refining too, so you know what? That's fine. Alright. Well, friends, thank you all for joining. This has been I'm just kidding. Of course we have another hero. Okay, this one's a little bit less finished, but you can see him in here. I have also made the first build. So go load this up and favorite the support monster build. It's good. This is the character I'm most excited for. Not because it's a lizard. No, it's not. No. This is the character I'm most excited for because he's a support. He is actually an intended support from the beginning. Spinning blade. I showed this off at the beginning of the stream, but I'm doing it again. Deal with it. Bam! It's a support. It hits and it does slows. Disruptive charge. Hit ability, go fast. Gets you from team to location to location. It also gives 30 lifesteal and 40 fire rate when leveled up. Okay, fire rate's not great on him because of his gun. But it's for your allies, not for you. Again, it's a support. You're not buffing your fire rate, you're buffing your team's fire rate.
Let's pick it up, people.
Dust Storm. I showed this off before. If you put improved reach on it, it covers an entire team fight. Massive slow, surprisingly decent damage, very disruptive. It does Mystic Slow level of a debuff on its own, except that it stacks with Mystic Slow because of course it does. Why wouldn't it? Want to see an enemy not be able to do a thing? Look at him. Look at him run. Look at him move. This is why I like stacking slows. Look at that. Behold the sheer amount of impotence on display as soon as I hit them with a couple of abilities. This is what I like about video games. And then his ult's a stun. 1-1000, 2-1000 slow, 1-1000, 2-1000 stun. It's not finished yet, but you can see here. Okay. It's supposed to be a knockdown. It's very buggy. This character is very it doesn't even turn when I move the camera. It doesn't even have an animation controller on the model is what that means. This also works in a confined space for farming creeps, as does the boomerang. Escalating exposure is going to keep them in their damage ramps up if you want to be more offensive. He's definitely more of a caster, so I would focus on Surge of Power and Escalating Exposure and, honestly, Silence Whiff, even if you want to be more offensive about it. His gun is very good, though, so, like, getting the Toxics, getting the Hunter's Aura, getting the Pristine Emblem, like, it's a good gun. And, like, just numbers-wise, it's a fairly long range. Currently, the DPS numbers are not mathematically, rocked out yet, but, like, I like the way it shoots, and it has a good range and a good accuracy and a really good bullet velocity out of the gate. And a little bit of vitality, a little bit of survival is going to go a long way, because the longer you're in a team fight, the more havoc you can make, the more you can disrupt, the more you can, the more crimes you can commit. This just covers an entire team fight, right? Like, with improved reach, this just covers an entire team fight worth of enemies, absolutely obliterating their ability to play video games. Pardon. anyways, that's what I see with the game right now. That's where I see it going. That's where I see that it's been. I've been playing this most evenings. I've been putting a lot of hours into this because this is my kind of game. This is just the kind of game that I like to play. And yeah, I'll probably do some more stuff like this. I've been doing it on the twitch.television. If you don't follow me on twitch.television, no worries. It's really not that good content. My good stuff comes out on YouTube. But yeah, I am over there if you wanted to drop by sometime. Thursdays is usually my Twitch streaming day, though I do pop on there at random times. In the future, when I'm going to be getting more footage for things, I might be on Twitch more to get that. Look at this goober. Look at that goober. He seems like a good goober. I like him. For $3,000 money bucks, for 3,000 souls, you can get knockdown and stun somebody for as long as Abrams' ult does. Now, honestly, knockdown I think might be underrated right now. It is pretty long range. Well, it honestly just seems decent. Plus Spirit Shield, plus a stamina. Like, I think knockdown is low-key solid now. Yeah. I am looking forward to this character coming out. This is definitely going to be one go into my stable almost instantaneously, and McGinnis is going to be a character that I'm going to spec out instantaneously as well. But I'm going to add her to my roster, and I need to adjust my Moan Krill build to avoid the to take off the melee stuff, though I lament it so. So I'm going to go do that. I might even go play a game. I hope that you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you again tomorrow for more Elden Ring. Be sure to be here for that. Any questions before I head out? Any thoughts? Any yells at me for being bad at video games? Because, I mean, that's deserved. I do think I want superior stamina on McGinnis. My Machina Dire is my build. Let's grab stamina. I don't think I want Veilwalker on her. I think superior stamina is better for that escape. Is there anything else I was going to change in here? Don't think so, actually. I can get rid of those. Keep the monster rounds, those are clutch. Alright, well. It's a good build. Actually, I think I want Toxics instead of Teslas. Maybe not. I don't think I want that. Okay. Cool. And my Mo build. I'll do that before I leave. And see if anyone has any questions.
Maurice and I got your back.
But I punched though. Well, first of all, but I punched though is now going to be no. But I punched though is now needs to be renamed because now it's past tense. But I punched though, sad face. Get rid of all the melee stuff. Keep close quarters. Keep point blank. Keep that. Mystic Slow, Torment Pulse, Superior Cooldown, Diviners. What else do I want in here, then? Cold Front's kind of funny. And it does kind of buff my ult, in a sense. Not directly. What, another character concept from Dota that I'd like to see get pulled in, like Puck Pocket or Holiday Batrider. My mainstay, I would like to see Shadow Shaman, but I think that would be too disruptive for this game. I think it would be too powerful in the context of this game. The ability to double bind to an enemy and yourself, and the ability to hex an enemy, and the ability to create an instantaneous wall of turrets. I think it would be outside of the scope of this game's potential. But I think it would be interesting. Honestly, Vengeful Spirit is kind of Paradox, but I think Vengeful Spirit does it better in Dota. I'd almost like to see Paradox made to be more in parity with Vengeful Spirit, if anything. I think I get knocked down in this build. I think I try it at least. And I try Siphon Bullets, and at least as an option. Stamina. I think the basic ones, yeah, but not the heavy ones. And I think Fortitude is no longer in the build. I keep finding myself not getting Fortitude. As a concept, though, not just of characters that I play, the idea of a more permanent stealth character like Rikimaru could be interesting, but also would be I don't know. You could have the backstab, actually having a character that's permanently stealthed, running around the map, that has more damage to enemies from behind, could be very disruptive in team fights and very interesting to play. What I would do is I would make it like old Ricky. Make his ultimate be you are permanently invisible. One level up, any damage done to an enemy from behind is increased by 20%. Next level up, I don't know, something in that range. And then, yeah, give him a blink, and then something like that. I think that would be interesting. I guess that's really the character I would think would be most interesting. Would be add Rikimaru, add a Ricky in there. I think this knockdown could have some weight to it. Haha, get it, jokes. That also gives me 200 Spirit Shield. Why would you have some Spirit Shield in here, right? No, I guess it's Diviner's Kevlar. Well then, what about Enchantress Barrier? It's kinda cute. I don't know if it's good, but it's cute. Alright, what I punched, though, is no longer a punch build. I'm gonna go play this game now. Yeah, I guess if I have to answer what kind of character from Dota I would like, it would be Ricky. It would be a backstabbing git that runs around and is really annoying to deal with. I think that'd be kind of cool in this type of game. Alright, I'm gonna head out now. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope to see you sometime real soon. Cheers, friends.